now that the ministerial nominees are almost being completely confirmed or ahead of full clearance, we need to sustain some conversation because there are a lot of arguments and counter-arguments for and against. So I have with me here the Senior Special Assistant to Mr. President on National Assembly Matters, Senate, Senator Enang. Good to have you on Insight.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
As much as I know that you are an in-house,
yeah,
would you say truly that going by Mr. President's promise that he will take mean of integrity, he'll be more inclusive, would you say he has played on this?
Mr. President has played on this. Inclusive, yes. The youths are there, the elders are there, the women are there, the average age are there, men of diverse professions, men of diverse backgrounds, and he's delivered on the promise. And again, you'll see more of this when you see the offices and the ministries to which they will be assigned. It may, in the course of it, be necessary to rejig the ministries. They may restructure the ministries. I'm not saying they will. It may, a place that may have been a parasite may be elevated to a ministry. Some ministries may be merged, some may be demerged, and so on. So it is when it is done, and then there may be some need for some reasons to create some more ministries, you know, and then determine who to go as minister, then minister of state, define the work of minister and minister of state. Some offices did not, some ministries did not have minister of state. Some offices had some ministries had two ministers of state, and so on. It is at the, when this is done and the respective nominees are assigned to their offices and become full ministers in respect thereof, that then we will be able to, then Nigerians will appreciate that Mr. President had a good background knowledge of these persons, and they will appreciate Mr. President.
Well, I know the next question will not change anything, but just for clarity, because you have the experience and the expertise, the issue of bow and go for some members. And I remember when it raised a lot of concerns, the Senate President categorically said that some nominees were asked to just bow and go is not a finality.
Yes.
Now, with clearance almost done or dusted, is it a finality?
Bow and go means that we have seen you. We have seen your profile. We've read your CV. We had known you. How do we know you? One, you were a member of the House of Representatives, which is National Assembly, or the Senate. You remember the Constitution says there shall be a National Assembly made up of the Senate and House of Representatives. Again, there shall be a National Assembly for Nigeria made up of the Senate and House of Representatives. Therefore, if you were in the House of Representatives, you are taken as having been a member. You were a member of the National Assembly. Like Wajuba came, he's a serving member of the National Assembly. He was also to 1999-2003 member of the National Assembly. Like Bemi Sola Saraki came, he was a member of the House of Representatives and then a senator of the Federal Republic. Like others who have come, there were senators who sat in screening people. There was also Shehuri, the ministerial nominee from Borno State, who was a member of the House of Representatives, then Minister of State for Works. He was not asked to take a bow because he was Minister of State for Works and Power. He was asked to take a bow because he was a member of the House of Representatives. What's the rationale about this? The rationale is that having been a member of the House of Representatives or the Senate, there are things that you were screened and cleared to be a member, and you were elected. So on this seat you sat, you were qualified. You screened others who will teach the teacher. So we give you that privilege to bow and go. Unless there is anything that is known of you after that, or anything which had arisen, which after you may have been a senator, a member of the House of Representatives, it arose, and you were either convicted or found to have, or impeached. That is not impeached by way of removal, that is questioned in a negative manner. Now, that will be done at the point of clearance.
The national chairman of the APC, Adams Oshimole, visited the president while the process was on. He granted a session with he had a session with a journalist at the State House, Asoro Villa, and his reaction was more or less to the outcome of the outing by the Senate on ministerial nominees.
Yeah.
How will you judge his statement?
What was his statement that particularly interests you?
Giving kudos to Mr. President, assuring Nigerians that there's confidence that he will even do better than what it was.
Yeah, the president is the leader of the party, and His Excellency Adams Oshiomhole is the national chairman of the party. And the leader of the party works with the national chairman of the party in arriving, and other stakeholders in arriving at the different nominees. And how did they arrive at the different nominees? With the caucus of the party, with the national caucus of the party. They looked at the background. They looked at their proficiency. They looked at the diversity that is needed. They looked at their performance in the last administration. They looked at the performance in areas of their core competence, and they looked at examined other diversities. And also, His Excellency, the national chairman, has also appreciated and watched the performance of the nominees on the floor of the Senate. You look at Dare, you look at the nominee from Cross River, you look at Emeka Nwajuba, you look at the Emeritus Minister of Health, Minister of State for Health, you look at the performance of Raji Fashola, you look at Lai Mohammed, then you look at the performance of Arek Beshola, then you look at the performance of the several of the other nominees, the gentleman from Sokoto. I had mentioned the exquisite performance of the gentleman from Borno State, the nominee from Borno State. Then the Dr. Mahmood, the chairman of the Universal Basic Education from Kaduna State. Then the ladies, the quintessential ladies, the Dame Pauline Talen. You looked at the presentation of the former national woman leader of the party. You look at the presentation of Sadia, the nominee from Zamfara State. You look at the presentation of the nominee from the two nominees from Kwara State, Senator Bwemishalaka. You look at even the bow and go immediate presentation of the emeritus senator from Lagos State, the former speaker of Lagos State House of Assembly, and the speaker, managing director of NIWA. Now, when you examine all this, and you are bound to come to the conclusion that the president had real reasons to take good time, examine the antecedents of these persons, go into the inner recesses, take 3, 5, 8, 10 names from a state, and then do personal assessment of each of them, and then come to a conclusion as to which one to pick, because it must be from a state. And of course, he had to balance from the geopolitical zones, and some areas he had to give two nominees to one geopolitical zone for the purpose of balancing sensitivities and being sensitive to sensibilities.
I remember when the last one held in 2015, I happened to have met with the former chairman of the party, and he had high hopes. You played the same role you're playing now, then and now. Is it an easy ride this time around? Is it tougher this time or tougher last time for you?
Well, it is. I can't say which one is easier, because they come with different complexities. The other time, then in 2014, we had a lot of time to prepare the nominees. We had a lot of time for documentation. We had a lot of time for security screening and clearance. We had a lot of time between the period of nomination and the period of the actual screening on the floor. We had to work with His Excellency, the President of the Senate, and the leaders of the Senate, a criteria of presentation, first on alphabetical order of states in which they were presented, and then a few adjustments and readjustments.
I asked it because last time we had disagreements.
But this time, I'm coming to that. Okay. The other time was like, it was a coalition government between the PDP and APC, and a coalition government in a situation where the leadership of the Senate, the presiding officers of the Senate, emerged against the permutations of the party. But this one, it emerged in accordance with the permutations of the party, how the party has kept the things. So definitely there will be a difference, and there has been a difference. But then that difference would have been shown earlier would have shown more if there had been a little time between because some of them even had notice of their nomination on the radio overnight, and they had to take like night flights to arrive to prepare for the screening, because most of them did not know that it was going to start immediately. My office had to start doing an emergency call. Those whose numbers did not go, we had to call the senators from that state. If the senators from that state are members of the minority party or the other party who do not and cannot reach them, we call former senators or senators from the state who had left the seat, or sometimes we reach the national chairman, the chairman of the state party. Sometimes we reach any leader of the party from that state. Sometimes we reach, just to be able to reach them. Yeah, we had their CV, but most of them, their phone numbers were not going or something. So we took some of these things. So it was I can't say which one is easier. It is difficult in different areas.
But we
different
saw elements of oneness this time.
Yeah.
Let me use the word
elements of one family.
We didn't see that last time.
No, it would have been abnormal to see that last time. Okay. Because when you emerge from another structure, you will try to please that structure, and you'll try to get a situation which you create difficulty for this structure, so that this structure can take you in or feel or allow you to do what you
Because last time we saw visibly senators even from a particular state
opposing their nominees.
This time, looking at
what Mr. President has done, and what the President of the Senate again has done, which is very commendable, and let me use the opportunity again and again and again to commend His Excellency, the President of the Senate, Dr. Ahmad Lawan, commend His Excellency, the Deputy President of the Senate, Ovio Mogege, the entire leadership of the majority and minority. He held meeting with each of the caucuses of the party, of the Senate state caucuses. He held an exclusive executive session, and then arrived at consensus with the respective senators representing the states. And he made them know, look, yes, you are of the minority party. It is not expected that we will come and nominate ministerial nominees from your party. These people come from our party. Please support. And each of these senators from the other party, the PDP, also had some understanding, and they agreed, and they worked with the leadership of the Senate. Again, the quality of the nominees also made it easy for the candidates, for the respective senators to agree to it. Further, each of the senators, the first lesson that we give in our academy, because we call it academy, when you come in, you go into the academy. The academy gives you orientation on the things you have to do in course, and on the floor, and even after the floor. Now, lesson 101 is you have to go and see your senator. Call him on phone, book an appointment with him, go and see him, because it is his yes. It doesn't matter which political party he belongs. The Senate president will need to have his yes to it, because it is his prerogative to say yes or no. But if you say no, you'll have some difficulty. But yes, the majority party on the other side can still say yes. But we want a situation where you could have a level of amity, even with your senators on the floor.
Before we exhaust the time, do we have cause to worry? Because some persons felt we had it so easy this time, it was so friendly, and as a result, we may not see a very vibrant and astute Senate and House of Reps this time around.
I'm sure the difficulty we went through in making sure that the party delivered, to make sure that the President of the Senate and Deputy President of the Senate emerged by the agreement of the party, too, and from the party. Because you can be from the party, but you are not produced by the collusion of the other side. Again, you can be from the party, but you can be from another party, and you are produced with the support of our party. Like you saw that His Excellency Ekweremadu tried to contest this time again, but the time it was too late because we had learned our lessons. So it wasn't easy. whatever trouble we had to go through that process
so
in the course of installing
of the independence of
the legislature will be definitely independent. It is definitely independent. If there is anything which they see that is not going to be good to the executive, they will not do it just to please the executive, because they know that if they do it to please the executive and it is wrong, there is a court to set it aside. Other than the court of law, there is the court of public opinion which will judge them delicately. Again, the legislature understands that when the president sends in something, any request, a bill, a nomination, it is not asking them to approve as it is. It is asking them to approve as thought fit. And of course, they also appreciate that what the president lays before them often is taken as a raw material, is taken as a matter to consider. And you come 360 members of the entire House of Representatives, then 109 senators. Consider what I have as president, working with my cabinet and caucus of the party, has presented before you. So they also have to do some scrutiny. I'm sure you saw, even in the course of the questioning, that scrutiny came out. The fact that they will approve, does not mean that they are stamping, because there is no rubber, there is no stamp. Okay. They are doing their job as required by the Constitution. The difference is that anyone that will not agree, you may not hear them shout out. They may have to consider and liaise with the president to draw attention. The president may either think of what to do, and it will be considered in the spirit of the party with a lot of behind-the-scene discussions. Okay. And if it becomes so difficult, something may be withdrawn, like bills or something, and yet so that you don't have a situation where there is open disagreement on any matter of the president on the floor, because they have a duty to make sure that the programs and nominations of the president sail through on the floor, or it is withdrawn at the discretion of the Mr. President.
Thank you so much, Senator Enang, and we wish you all the best as yet undoubtedly is true for you.
Thank you very much.
A bigger one is coming, where we have all the bills coming from the executive, how you wait through it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for being on Insight.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
Up next on Insight is the media review segment. Stay with us.